Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
I'm done.
Yeah, and even for sharing the screen also, just give me the approval for that also side by side.
Ma'am, you are the host. You are the host now. Once you share the screen, I will claim it back.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot. I got the sharing access also. Now, as I said, till yesterday, we saw as to what are the theoretical frameworks, theoretical building is development, conceptual building, conceptual development, and concepts. We have somehow, went away and we understood. Today, I want exclusively on variables so that we know what variables are, and there are good number of papers and some material which I was able to collect exclusively for the variables, and we would definitely go ahead and understand what they are, and if you are able to understand more about them rather than the textbook books that you were taking care of it, now you should be able to connect and find out as to why variables, and from there what would be the importance of reviews in between. Why reviews? You will see that once you have identified some papers or something, there are certain things, or maybe I will complete with the philosophical assumptions first, immediately after the variables, and then go ahead with reviews. Now, reviews, because majority of you are students and scholars, I would say, and whenever I am attending, let's say, a particular faculty development program or a workshop, and I'm interacting with the scholars, one major complaint that I found is that we do not know how to publish our papers. I would say that once you have understood the reviews and the techniques that we have got, definitely you can go ahead and you can look for the different opportunities, I would say, for publishing in various forms, and we will see how reviews are going to help you out for that. And in our country, I wouldn't say in other countries, however, in my country, I haven't seen much of the reviews, gone ahead or adopted for a particular publication also side by side. And then definitely, yes, philosophical assumptions, reason, apart from Delhi University, I know some of the students are aware of the philosophical assumptions. However, there are still a lot of scholars who are not aware and do not even understand what these assumptions are, and why we should be focusing on these assumptions for our own research in whatever way it is being taken care of. So I thought, okay, let me go ahead, and this would be a nice way or a forum for me to proceed further and give you the introduction to the philosophical assumptions also. And reviews we will see, though if time permits me today, then I would very quickly go ahead and give you the differences between reviews, then papers, and then what we call it as critical appraisals, or you can say critical appreciations, for, and these are also the platforms wherein you can go ahead and you can really publish your work, like a serious scholar who is very much earnest enough, number one. Number two, who is passionate to join the academics, then these things are really important. And it's not just that research article or a research paper is the only publication avenue for you. And when I say critical appreciations, it can be a critical review, and today you will be checking out with these things also side by side. Now, I'm going ahead and starting off with something which we call it as the variables. And first of all, we will understand and see how many kinds of variables are present, number one. Number two, do we really require those variables? And number three, in what way these variables are going to be helpful for us is something that I really want to showcase to you. So let me just share the screen. Give me a moment. Again, you have taken away my rights. Gokul, kindly make me the host so that, I can share the screen. No, not even now. Yeah, thank you. Why do you keep changing it? Okay, here we go. And this is the one that I'm going to showcase and make you understand a little bit immediately. And once we have completed with this, then I can proceed further with the different kinds of variables and what are the various terminologies which we can use it. Now, you see, the word variable itself has come from different words, and which varies. That could be one of them, and we have to understand and find it out what are these variations that we are talking about. Now, you see, when you go in a room, now I have specially, we all say that once we are in a party or somewhere where a particular group of people, similar kind of a people are there. For example, let's say that you are in Africa, then it becomes very difficult for you to distinguish who is who. Sometimes, because our eyes are not yet tuned to. Similarly, try to understand if you are in a room full of flowers, then it even becomes more difficult to identify the different kind of a thing. Similarly, with the eye colors, you see that some of us possess brown color, light brown color, or blue color, or gray color. When you see that, yes, these kind of differences are coming in, we say that there is a variation in the eye color. Similarly, if you are very sensitive kind of a person, then the other person, you will see that when you are eating or drinking something or consuming something, immediately the taste buds make you aware, okay, this is the difference where that we are focusing. Similarly, when you are in a company, then there are certain things which you can observe, and they are varying from person to person also. Now, opposite to the variable, remember that we have got another word which we call it as a constant, which does not allow any kind of change, and it is always the same thing. Okay, now for example, grade level of ninth graders. Now, you see, if we are going to assess the students, what are we going to do? We are going to assign certain marks, and these marks will be same for each and every student. However, it differs as to how they perform. Performance will be the variation. However, the way we are going to assign them the marks for whatever the answer they're going to give us, that may be called as a constant, or the temperature of the water. So, our ice in a refrigerator, when it is forming, so those things would be called as the constant. Now, or gravity. Now, no matter where you go, other than the mountainous area, gravity value will be 9.8. That's the constant that we take. Now, similarly, you can look into physics, chemistry, and wherever they talk about constants, we know that they are not changing. So, in our research also, you will see that we have got certain things which are absolutely, I would say, present, and we are able to proceed further. So let me just go ahead and, share the screen so that you are able to see properly. Now, sometimes what happens is that now we have got the access to the Tata McGraw-Hill companies, and therefore this is where we have got the presentations and we use it. So I'm taking care from there itself. Now, in some part, you will see that, variables are also classified as quantitative or categorical. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, when we say quantitative, it means that, it can be measured in terms of some numbers. And whenever it is present in some kind of numbers, you are able to measure it out. Those would be called as the quantitative variable. And you will see that there are categories of it. And that's why when I was talking about the observation, remember, I used the term over there, categorization. Reason, you are able to categorize the world around you in terms of size, in terms of height, in terms of weight, in terms of, you can say mass, and all these things are of length, breadth, height. Now, these are the various things in which you can go ahead and you can give a value which will be basically the numeric one. Now, similarly, this we go ahead and we are talking in terms of the categorical variable. Now, the definition of a categorical variable means that it does not vary in degree, amount, or quantity. However, it is in terms of the qualitative terms. So what does that mean? It means that it is a non-numeric one. So here I should introduce to you and say that any variable that we have got, okay, they are either they are divided or classified into two varieties. On one side we have got the metric. Metric means which you are able to measure and it has got a numeric value. On the other hand, we have non-metric values which are not numeric, number one, and the measurement is not there. However, there are certain other things by which you are able to proceed further and you are able to understand them. That is what they are calling as they are not in terms of degrees or amount or the quantity, because degrees, amount, quantity, remember, are always measurable and they are in metric terms. Now, similarly, you will see that apart from that, we have other things like, for example, these are the ones: quantitative variables, height, science, aptitude, price of the houses. Categorical variables will be like categories of different types of trees or different types of flowers. Like today, again, I'm seeing that some of them are celebrating the Janmashtami, and I have seen them. The variety of flowers that are used for the celebration, they are very, very different kind of a thing. Now, similarly, we have different categories of aircraft. Now, for example, instead of the companies, the way you have designed and developed the entire aircraft, they are also different. National, multinational, international aircrafts, you can say. Then there are aircrafts which are designed specially for the war purposes. Then there are which deliver the goods from one country to the other country, like a cargo, you can say. Then there are passenger aircrafts which whose duty is to just to take the human beings from one area to the other area. Now, if you go into the depth of it, like yesterday when I was discussing about trees, then I think one of the participants asked me, can we go ahead and categorize it in terms of the variety of the wood that you're getting it? Of course, yes. Now, if Eskimos, if you go ahead and find out that yellow color, they have variety of yellow colors. Now, it's very difficult when I go there and I don't know. It's very easy for them. Let's say that they have got 8 varieties of yellow color, then they are labeling those 8 colors of yellow in different names also. Now, those names I'm unable to remember, and because I'm not used to it. Similarly, if you come to India, you have seen that in some places, they go ahead, they give you a lot of names. For example, turmeric yellow, mustard yellow, then you have got this chrome yellow, dirty yellow. Now, if you are aware of these colors, you will be able to understand. Cream yellow, now ice yellow. Now, these are, you pick up and then you are able to understand those shades. So that is another categorical variable. Now, similarly, we have got the categories of different types of animals like pisias, then birds, then mammals, then aves. Then there are different kind of animals are there, and they all fall into what we call it as the categories. Now, similarly, there is one more category, remember, which is the most popularly used one, which we call it as independent and dependent variables. Now, independent variable in the research would see the relationship or the effect, in the sense that the variable has an effect on other variable. When you see this kind of a thing taking place, you call that to be an independent variable. Now, similarly, opposite to it is the dependent variable. So what is a dependent variable? Which is affected, which is influenced, which is caused by something else. So at that time, you would be calling that to be as dependent variable. Now, independent variable variables, I have seen that sometimes they are manipulated or selected also as compared to the independent one. So what are your manipulated variables? Now, remember, as a researcher, I usually again observe that scholars and the faculties, when they are trying to describe the variables that they have chosen. In fact, majority of in our country, nobody writes it that yes, these are my variables, these variables have got these characteristic feature. Nobody does it. However, I feel that yes, you have done the observation, you understood the categorization, and you have reached to that level. Then why you cannot go ahead and talk about the nature of the variables also that are being selected, identified, and recognized for your study? So if you are able to understand that, then independent variables, go ahead and make it a point to say that yes, it's a manipulated one. What does that manipulated variable means? It means that it's a changed condition the researcher creates during a study. Now, for example, like in your own study, if you feel that yes, your independent variable does not fit in as per your, so you go ahead and you manipulate it. And these kind of a thing, sometimes we do it, and it is also called as the experimental or treatment variable. So especially in the causal studies, in experimental studies with healthcare sectors are there, and even in I find marketing departments also, the variables which are there, sometimes they are experimental or treated, and then we are manipulating also. However, when you are manipulating it, you are supposed to even make a note of it that yes, we have done so and so thing. Now, similarly, we have got the selected variable. Now, selected variable is something that has been taken for granted. For example, you're adapting or adopting a particular scale, which has already been designed and planned by another person. At that time, you have selected that particular variable and you're not changing it. For example, let's say I have a scale in front of me, and through, or let's say a paper in which a scale has been introduced. Now, rather than again going ahead and coming up with my own scale, I would be borrowing the variables also from here and cited that yes, from so and so paper I have taken and I have selected the same variables. Now, one paragraph, let's say about 250 words to 400 words, you are supposed to write about your own variables also side by side. I hope this makes it clear, and this is how you go ahead and represent your variables, which I showed it yesterday also. Independent variable is the one that causes or it affects, and then what you get as an output or as a result will be called as an independent variable. So remember, so the best example for, it differs from, again, domain to domain as to how the independent variables are there. Yesterday, I have showcased certain things that yes, bad leadership always gives rise to a disturbed employee. So bad leadership would be independent variable, and I would say the disturbed employee will turn out to be a dependent variable for me. So you can go ahead and you can take more and more example. Now, apart from these things, we have got the other kind of, I would say, the variables like outcome variable. Like, what is an outcome variable? It's a dependent variable, number one. Then it is the resulting one, especially in the quantitative part of it, wherein most of the studies demonstrating this would have a categorical independent variable. So towards the end of the effect, you will see it can turn out to be a categorical one also. Now, similarly, investigator is interested in the studies that might lead to differences in methods, or those will be called as the outcomes. As to, for example, if you have a model, and in the model you are saying that instead of a moderation, on that particular moderation there is a mediation also. So that is one of your outcome that you have taken care, the resulting one basically. Moderator variable. Now, some of the students are quite new, so just try to remember one once we do a little bit higher level of research, you would be understanding more about the moderator and the mediating variables. However, right now, just try to understand that it's a special type of independent variable. Always remember that it's a one special type of independent variable, and it is selected to determine if it affects or modifies the basic relationship between the primary independent variable and the dependent variable. And in most of the cases, in our models, you would see that either the moderators escalate, or they are enhancing or accelerating, I would say, or improvising the conditions. Sometimes, it can be possible that we are getting the negative things also. For example, on one side, let's say we have got the what would you call a hero. On the other hand, we have got the heroine. Let's say hero is affecting the heroine in some form, and moderator would be the villain, if you take up the film studies as this one. Or the other kind of a thing between the bad leader and the employee that we have got. The moderators can be the demographic variables like age, then gender, education. Those things also do matter a lot. So we will study more about the moderator variables when we come to the higher models. Actually, if you're taking a very simple model, it's not necessary that there has to be a moderator. However, we try to identify in our research, and check it out that yes, there are moderators which are available and they are contributing towards the study that is being performed. Apart from this, you will see that we have extraneous variable. Now these are the ones that are not being controlled. Now try to remember what controlling is. Yesterday also I explained to you, when a doctor is there in the hospital and checking or providing some kind of a treatment to the patient. Now when they are giving the treatment, without the knowledge of the patient, we go ahead and we introduce what we call it as controlled variables also. Sometimes we check it out whether if this has been stopped, will the patient recover very fast. For example, let's say I'm a doctor and I'm talking to my patient. The patient, when I'm talking to them, I'm giving them the medicine, they are taking it, they are taking healthy food, they're drinking juices and everything. When I go next morning, usually we have seen these things taking place. When we are interacting with the patient says, everything is good, doctor. However, I'm unable, I feel that something is missing. So I start asking them, what is it that you're missing? So they tell us that, we are unable to do proper exercises. For example, nowadays, when pandemic is there and even the COVID-19, which is a majority of the people, they say, yes, I'm at home, but still I feel so lethargic. There is something wrong with my body. I feel very, heavy with the weight and I want to do the exercises. However, I feel very lazy. I'm eating properly, I'm sleeping at the appropriate. Then if you're doing everything, why these negative things are also coming in? No, you see, however, when I give the meditation, let's say I'm organizing a meditation for them, for such individuals. The moment I tell them, close your eyes, okay, I'm going to transfer the positive energy from my side to you. You see, once I completed with the meditation, they say, yes, we are feeling very good. Now, in the same manner, in the hospitals, I have seen the patient says that, oh, I don't know, I'm feeling very lazy and I have a very bad ache in my legs. The doctor immediately, writes some medicine and gives to the nurse and says, give him the medicine. And after a while, the doctor comes back and she asks the patient, how are you feeling right now? The patient simply says, oh, fantastic, you have given me the medicine and I'm feeling very happy. Though the doctor knows that the medicine was nothing. It was just a simple pill, which was a calcium medicine, you can say, that was given to a tablet, a calcium tablet, so that, you know, the bones get the thing. So it was a very, we call it as the placebo response. So there you will see that certain things are controlled. And now the variables also are the same thing. Sometimes we are controlling, sometimes we do not control. So the extraneous variables are the independent variables which are not controlled. Remember that. And it's a basic problem in research. Sometimes, you know, when you are working with the controlled variables, you will see that a lot of difficulties come. And at that time, you need to take the help of an expert to help you to go further. The task is to control the variables by reducing or eliminating their effects. Now, sometimes when a student comes to me, a scholar, and says that, you see, I have these variables and I'm trying to get the best effect, the positive one. However, I'm not getting it. So what do you want me to do now? I tell them, remove it and see what's happening. Or you put them, take them as a controlled variable and see what is the effect of it. At that time, you need to understand that, yes, you are working with extraneous variable. Now, these are extra points that they have given to us. So here is an example where you can see the principal of a high school compares the final examination scores of two history classes taught by the teachers who use different methods, not realizing that they are also different in many other ways. Now the classes, now what is it? Size of the class, gender of the student, gender of the teacher, age of the teacher. If you are a young teacher, obviously, you know, you're smart and you're talking, the way you interact, there's a lot of effect on the student. However, if you are a very senior kind of a teacher, then you're very dominating. So the students are not very free with you. You see, then the technique, you might be dominating them, you might be suppressing them. The moment they see you, they are very scared, they go away from you, they are not approaching, the rapport is not there. So you see, all these things do matter a lot for a teacher with the student. Now we have to understand. Now sometimes, you know, if a teacher is again a senior one, the maturity is there. Number two, number three, they are so well read, so well educated that downloading the information to the first year students, or let's say a fresher, becomes really difficult. So, you know, these are certain things that they are talking about. Miss Brown's age 31 on one side, and on the other side we have Mr. Thompson's age as 54. So, you know, you can see the differences as to how it is taking place and in what manner. Like if a female teacher is there, so obviously we all know that girls are much more closer to, so that they can discuss certain things, they are able to take care. I might be wrong, but usually this is what it has been checked out. However, if it is a male teacher, then you will have to understand that yes, a male teacher is there, then all men, you know, the young youth who's there, the men, they go ahead and they are more comfortable with the teacher. They can talk together, they are able to mingle because of certain common hobbies or the common discussions that they are taking place. So there can be any reason. However, they have seen that these kind of things are taking place. Now, I'm not going to discuss right now. I'll come back to this one later. However, I have one more thing that I wanted to show it to you. Let me share this one. Yes, here we go. Now, in this particular sheet of Word file, you will see that I have even given you a list of other kind of variables, usually that are discussed in terms of the research. And you who are quite new, like some of the individuals who are joining up from Benares, for them, this is something quite new and you're supposed to understand them. For example, what are categorical variables? So we say that variables that can be put into categories, like what? Toothpaste, brands, class, let's say, like just now I said, individuals coming from Benares. So anybody who comes from Benares, or staying in Banaras would be in that category. Now, similarly, there are other places. For example, it can be Colgate, it can be Aquafresh, then urban areas, rural areas, then we have got villages, cities, metro cities. Then if you are categorizing in terms of age, it can be millennial or non-millennial, or, you can go further and you can write it down before partition, after partition, anything. Or it can also be dislocated person, displaced person, or handicapped person, diabetic, non-diabetic, boy, girl, man, woman. These things are all what we call it as the categorical variables. Now, other word is confounding variable. These are the extra variables that have the hidden effect. You cannot see it directly, however, it is hidden. For example, as I said, doctor and patient, confounding variable could be that yes, the medicine that has been given, which the patient does not know usually, that what kind of a medicine, which I said is a placebo response. It can be possible that usually you see when you are taking the homeopathic medicine also, or if you will see the allopathic, the patient has this kind of a tendency in them that yes, they are, no, I want to go only for naturopathy or allopathy or homeopathic medicines. Like for example, if you ask me, Ramni ma'am, what kind of a medicine you would like? Obviously, I like more of English medicine, so I would say I want to go for not for the homeopathic, I will go for the allopathic medicine. So my sister is there, she will say no, I don't want this because she is more comfortable with the homeopathic. It's a slow medicine, so she will like it. Now, if you go ahead with my mother, then definitely she will say I don't want either of the medicines. I'm happy, I'll take the natural food, and that's the best medicine for me. So you will see that the discussions in your own family, you can understand and you are able to find these kind of differences. Now, continuous variable, this would be like, when we are talking about time or weight, when I come to the scales, which I'll be doing it in my next presentation, you will see that the variables which are continuously present, and through time they are changing. Like for example, your height, your weight, and your thinking, your intellectual, your emotions, feelings, all these things also fall under what we call it as the continuous variables, and you can see the changes in them. Control variable, which I have said, it is a factor, an experiment, which must be held as a constant. Like I said, the medicine is a constant for the patient, that yes, the doctor has given to me. So that would be a controlled kind of a thing. Example will be in an experiment to determine whether light makes plants grow faster, or you would have to control for soil quality and water. So if you are a typical scientist, biologist, and especially with the botanist, and you are agriculturist and filtering it further, grilling it further down, and we have seen that yes, if you are into agriculture or if you love gardening, you will see that yes, whether the sunlight has an effect, or as a daily, if you are a spiritualist, you go to a plant, you start talking, with your palm nicely, you brush and say that yes, I want more leaves on the tree, or I want more flowers. You will see that yes, these kind of impact are also there, and you can look into it. So you can understand the control variables also play a lot of role in our in the research also. Then comes dependent variable. I have explained to you. Discrete variable is a variable which I have explained to you yesterday also. It's a variable that can only take on certain number of values. Now, these will be like number of cars in a parking lot. Now, for example, I'm reside in Delhi. I would say, like I'm staying at Lashwat Nagar. Let's say that Lashwat Nagar parking. Then I would say Central Market parking. Then I can even say South Delhi parking lot. That means that I'm including all the areas which fall under South Delhi, like Lajpat Nagar, South Extension, GK, all these things. Then I can even go further, and I can also say parking lot at Palam, that's International, Indira Gandhi International Airport, or the domestic airport, or I can say at Rajiv Chowk. So you will see that the parking lots which we are talking about now, they differ from with the number of cars which are present. And nowadays even metros are there, so you can see motorbikes, cars, cycles, all these things also are present, and the differences you are able to understand. Then they come up with the independent variable. We have got lurking variable. Again, lurking is nothing but the hidden variables which are present, and it also has an effect, the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. So similarly, you have got measurement variable, nominal variable, which is another name for the categorical. Why I'm sharing is that you are not supposed to get panicked. Oh, I'm learning a new kind of a variable. Here is the list, and majority of the time they are using one or the other name for the thing. Then we have got what we call it as the qualitative variable. Now, this is something that I really wanted to touch upon. Now here, when they are talking about the qualitative, remember that it's a broad category for any variable that cannot be counted. As I said, you cannot give a metric value or a numeric value for it. Nominal and ordinal variables fall under this variable. Usually it is the nominal. Ordinal, I'll put it in double quotes, and I'm taking care of it over here. Quantitative variable, it's a broad category that includes any variable that can be counted or has a numeric value associated with it. So all your ratio, now we will see later on how we divide the other ways, the scales that we have got, and then you will be able to understand. Random variables are associated with the random processes and gives numbers to outcomes of the random events. For example, last year, if you remember, we were very comfortably, very normally going to our colleges or universities or companies if we are working, or the college or the university, we used to come back. There was a daily routine. However, because of COVID-19, entirely the thing scenario has changed. So, these are sometimes we call them as a random event, and these are also being associated with the numbers, and we start taking care. If you read the newspaper on a daily basis, it is being flashed continuously. Like yesterday in Delhi, so many death has taken place. So in Banaras, you can look up and see how well these random variables are coming up on a daily basis. Ranked variable is an ordinal variable, a variable where every data point can be put in order, like first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, or go ahead and see the differences, the ranks in a classroom, rank at the state level, then rank at the country level. Also, you can have a look at it and see. So, there are different activities wherein ranks are, like in games, sports, you can see, and those things are coming in, we take up in the form of the ranked variable. Now, ratio variables, they are similar to the interval variables, which has a meaningful zero. Now, for example, 0 here is a number. That is what they mean by saying meaningful zero. Sometimes, 0 does not have any meaning in some cases. And however, when you are taking up the ratio variables, 0 has a value in it, and then we say, okay. So, for example, I know my mentor, Dr. Nidish Kaushik sir, he always used to ask me, जब बच्चा होता है रमनी, तो पहले दिन का बच्चे का आपने देखा है क्या उसका वैल्यू 0 हो सकता है? Now I used to look and say, how can that be 0? A child, when the child is born, we cannot say that yes, the child is at 0 level. We will say it is 1 day, but we cannot say 0 day. That is impossible. So, those things are the ones that you will have to be very careful. Now, similarly, less common types of variables. These are, like yesterday I introduced to you, antecedent variable. Then we talk about proxy variables. Then we talk about attribute variable, binary variable, then covariate variables. Now, dummy variables, especially if you are in finance or commerce department, you will see that sometimes we are working with dummy variables. And I always, one of my mentor, again, CP Gupta sir, whom we all know very well. Now, he always says, कि रमनी तुमको पता है कि हम लोग qualitative भी करते हैं यहाँ पे. So I thought qualitative means it would be some somewhere like, for example, I'm talking about like phenomenology or ethnography, and I used to think, okay, can we do it? Then later on, I saw that they are basically working with the dummy variables. So those are very different, and they work only with 0 and 1s. Okay, and then they proceed further. So these are some more varieties of variables that we have got, and completely you have to understand them. This also will be shared today, this particular sheet, so you can understand and remember that yes, there are certain ones that we have got, and we need to understand about these variables also. So let me see if I have to discuss something else also with you right now with respect to something. Common types I have done, this I have done, this also I have taken care of. Okay, now after this I will like to begin with another topic, which I said that I will start after completing the variable, and this is on hypotheses. I'm just touching upon it for the sake that yes, tomorrow when I'll start about quantitative and qualitative analysis in a very lucrative manner, I would be discussing with all of you. We will have to understand what hypotheses are. Now, given the variables, okay, now before I can start off with what reviews are, let's understand what hypotheses mean for us. Now, you will see that once we are able to go ahead, we had research questions, and we complete with the reviews, and then we need to go ahead and understand that yes, what would be the result of my study? Will there be something through the theoretical model that you have got, or the conceptual model that you have designed? We come ahead with what we call it as the hypotheses. And remember that hypotheses always come in, like yesterday I was explaining to you, with the help of certain predictions that you are going to make. And that's why we say that it is a prediction regarding the possible outcomes of a study. So if there are some results which are being given to you at that time, you're going to do some kind of a prediction, then it is called as a hypothesis. Now it has got its own advantages and disadvantages. You can have a look at them very quickly, and later on I can show it to you. This is the advantages forces us to think more deeply and specifically about the possible outcomes. Then disadvantages may lead to a bias of the researcher, and these are the presumptuous to predict. And later on, focusing on the hypotheses, we might go ahead and talk. So this is just a thing that the discussion which is taking place, and you can understand as to how different individuals are talking among themselves for different things. So you can see how many hypotheses can be made with one thing. Now the reason why I wanted to discuss about hypotheses is that there are two different kinds of hypotheses. Remember that one is the directional hypothesis, and the other one is what we call it as the non-directional hypotheses also. Directional hypotheses, we would say or define it that it has got a specific direction, like it is moving towards the north side or moving towards the right side, or direction can be taken care, let's say that yes, in a particular literature they have found it to be a positive outcome or a negative outcome, and you are talking in terms of the literature. Similarly, through personal experiences, we say that okay, this is quite positive in my case, however, let's see your case, what you are going. So you start observing, and then you are able to understand that yes, there is some kind of a direction also given to it. Now similarly, through experience of the others. So all the three I have explained to you. Non-directional is where in which you can say that there is no specific prediction about the direction in which the outcome is. Like, fine example, they say that during COVID-19 you're supposed to take healthy food. Now, every day, some houses I see that people drinking milk in which they have added the turmeric powder and they're drinking. However, the question arises, is it really healthy for you? And if it does not, then there is no direction. You're just taking care of it. So that's how the things also go about, whether there is a direction for it or not. Now here, again, let me just showcase to you so that you are able to see the direction of it. Now, for example, a man is entering into a room. So he has the choices. Either he can go towards the left hand side or towards the right hand side. Okay, so here I'm not sure which direction he is going to take up. Now, for example, non-directional hypotheses, the man will look either left or right because he has got those choices where I should go, especially if you are in a new city and you do not know the directions. That is the best way to understand. I can take a right turn or I can take a left turn. Choice is mine. Now, however, if I know very well, the moment I enter Delhi, I know how to reach my home because I'll be taking up exactly the correct direction. So that is the reason why we say the man will look only to the right or left depending upon his acquaintance about a direction over there. Similarly, the person has got two choices. So two directions are there. One, he might go to the left side or they might even go to the right side also. So this is to do with the hypotheses. I'm not entering more into this discussion at all. And yesterday I did discuss some more part of it. And now I would like to go ahead with what I call it as the philosophical assumptions, because philosophical assumptions, you will see that has played a lot of role in research and why the philosophical assumptions. Now, I do remember very well, one of the students, again from Delhi University, called me up and she said that, ma'am, can you please explain to me, what do you mean by philosophical assumptions and how is it that I'm supposed to go further and I'm not sure about it? Can you explain to me? Now, you see, there are various ways in which you can look into it and try to understand as to how to proceed further with the what I call it as the philosophical assumption. Now, for this, I'm just going ahead and sharing certain things wherein you would be able to understand and go further into what I call it as the philosophical assumptions for us. However, before that, here we go. Let me just share it again. Yes, here it is. And have a look at this Word file. I hope all of you are able to see it. Knowledge claims and philosophical assumptions. Gokul, can you see?
Yes, ma'am, we can see this.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now here, this is how...
Ma'am, it is still sharing.
I've already shared it. Okay, let me share it once again. It's a Word file that I'm sharing, which has a title, Knowledge Claims and Philosophical Assumptions. Are you able to see it right now, Gokul? Are you able to see?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, Creswell is one of the person in 2003. He published a book. What happened? Okay, and he proceed further, and he said that we have to take certain assumptions. What happened? Somebody has a problem with their... I think,
Yes, ma'am. I'm able to
okay.
see my
Gokul, can you please mute yourself? Or if you want to say something, kindly put it in the chat box so that I'm able to read it. Now, let me just take few questions also before I can proceed further with the next one. Honey ma'am has asked me, age and income is categorical or continuous? Ma'am, age, see, it depends upon your study as to how you would like to take it in your this thing as a categorical one. And similarly, for example, if you're just talking about millennials and non-millennials and under the demographics, it will be considered as a categorical one. However, if you are using age in terms of an increment, where it is not just used in the qualitative form, however, in the quantitative. For example, the growth of the child affecting the, let's say, height of the child, at that time the age would be taken care as a continuous one, not as a categorical one. Similarly, for the income also, ma'am, again, if you are taking it in terms of for example, if you remember, one of our framework that we use in marketing is basically the marketing segmentation. There, if you are checking it out, what kind of income group goes ahead and purchases, let's say, Zara designer clothes or non-designing or street or fashionable clothes, at that time income may be my categorical. However, if I have to see income as a non-categorical thing, as a continuous one, then you are going to put it in terms of the range between let's say 1 lakh to 2 lakh as the annual income, or between 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. When you give that, then that becomes a continuous one for us. Now, Rajendra sir has asked me, these are continuous variables. However, yes, sir, you're absolutely right. These are continuous variables. However, depending upon, what kind of research or we are taking for our own study. That's why I told her it totally depends upon her research, what exactly she is planning to take care of it. Okay, now let me proceed further and move ahead with the one that I really wanted to share, and that is on the philosophical assumptions, which again nobody touches in the I should say workshops, and you are supposed to know what kind of a philosophical motive you're going to catch up so that you can proceed further. Now, here is one, I'll be showcasing today right now some of the papers wherein many things have been discussed, and you should be aware as to what kind of framework you are planning to use it in your own generalization theory also. So how do you go about? Now, first and foremost, this is the way that they have talked about models or patterns of research. Now, this is where I was reiterating from day one that yes, with the help of the research question, you are able to come up with your own models or the patterns, and this has been given to us by Lincoln and Guba in 2000 and Mertens in 1998. Similarly, if you are going ahead in introducing the assumptions, now what are the philosophical assumptions? Here you have got what we call it as a theoretical framework, and from the theoretical framework you go ahead, do the collection, that is the data collection, analyze and interpret what we call it as the, one second, let me just admit all of them. I don't know why they had left, now they are entered. So you will be seeing that first the data collection, analysis, and then you are interpreting it. Now, once you are at that level, you are have to understand the kind of the philosophical assumptions that you're going to pick it up, and this has to be this was shared by Crotty in 1998. Then we would see that there are different schools, number one. Number two, the way you proceed further with your own research. Now, for example, if you are curious to know something, so we start using the theories of knowledge, which is also called as the epistemologies, and here we are specially focusing on the nature of the object, validity of the object, whatever you are looking for with the help of your domain itself, methods and scope. This is again shared by Crotty in 1998. I have this paper with me and sharing it. I'll be discussing it right now, showcasing it to you also, so that you understand that yes, when I am doing my research, if this is what I want, I am at the domain out using what I call it as the epistemologies. Similarly, if you are moving towards what is knowledge, what kind of reality the research is taking you into, then are you focusing on its being and what happens when it is really present in the society. All those things are called as ontologies. So you see, when you are writing the objectives or the titles, you can always use these kind of words for yourself. For example, if you say your objective is to know the role of the SMEs towards the bank growth. I'm just giving you an example. An epistemic study or an epistemological study. I know that in your the model, you are trying to focus more on the epistemologies rather than anything else. So I cannot go ahead and ask you, okay, Anubha, can you tell me what is the reality of the bank and the role of the SME on it? I cannot question her because she has specified that yes, this is my objective and I'm supposed to focus only on this. So she might very smartly tell me that is beyond the scope of the research. I did not say that I'm working on the ontology. So that's where she can stop the person who's going to question or doubt about her research work. Now, similarly, we have got the research methodology, systematic processes, and you will see, some of the papers from where this thing has been built up. Newman 2000, how come he has taken care of it? So these are just the some of them. For example, you can go ahead with the ethical practices, you can do from logical study, post-structuralism, critical reality theories. I'll be showcasing to you and introducing to you those names so that you are aware of it and you are proceeding further. For example, ontology, what knowledge is? You're focusing on that. If it is epistemological work that you're going to do, you are trying to find out, how do I know about it? Now, for example, like Nandini is in village. Now, how does she know that yes, the older men or the young women of that particular village are trying to behave in this manner? If she is going to pursue that kind of a study, it would be the epistemological one. Similarly, we have got axiological studies, methodological studies are present, how we study and in what way we are going to proceed further. Rhetoricism is one more thing that we have got. So finally, when we are in the domain of the research, remember that there are two ways in which we are going to classify our research area. One would be called as the quantitative research, and opposite to that, we have got the qualitative research, and we say that these are the two frameworks of research that we have got, and we proceed further in order to come up with some kind of a prediction or whatever the output is going to be. Now, when these two approaches in research are also present for us, we call them as what? Research methodology. So either you are taking up, there will be three of them available to you. Either you are purely focusing on quantitative research, or you are focusing on qualitative research, and the third category which is missing out here is the combination of these two things, wherein we call it as the mixed methodology, wherein you have got quantitative as well as the qualitative. Now remember one thing, that quantitative research, here the knowledge claims and nature is to find out the truth. What kind of a truth I'm going to get in the end? So the way you go ahead with the various tests, with the various techniques that you have got, you perform and you say that yes, if this satisfies for a sample size of 300 individuals, I can move ahead, I can generalize it, saying that this is true for, let's say, 10,000 people or 50,000 or 1 lakh, and you can even go. So the techniques takes you from this level to the other level. Whereas in qualitative research, research, you will see that knowledge claims and the nature is to find out the truth would be different one altogether, and we will understand and see how these things are carrying on. So if you understand these things, you will be able to take care of it. Now remember, quantitative approach is also called as the scientific method, empirical science, post positivist research. Now most of the time is it here the differences come in. Sometimes you can call it as what here they have called about in the words. For example, just let me showcase to you the different things that we have got. On one side I have got what I call it as the post positivism. It is also called as logical positivism, or in some cases it is also called as the simple positivism. So what it is, how you are going to take care, and if you are coming from the management department, I'm talking about MBA, and if you are doing a research let's say in HR, in marketing, or let's say supply chain, or logistic, operations management, all these places, they are focusing on what we call it as the logical positivism, or simply positivism, or post positivism. However, for me who comes from a domain where I have been trained, for me all the three are different. However, remember that for management it is basically the positivism school is the philosophical assumptions that they will be taking up, and we will see what those assumptions are. Whereas in the qualitative research, remember that it is usually called as social constructivism research, or simply the social constructivist research also we can call them, and this can be bifurcated into critical constructivism, then we can call it as the pre-constructivism or post-constructivism also. Now here different things are coming in, and we will see what are those different scenarios for us and how we can carry forward. Now first difference is that there is no absolute truth for the quantitative, and that is the reason why research and further research, it keeps on going continuously, and there is no end of it. So we say that I cannot arrive at truth. So tomorrow in your research, the viva person, the invigilator who is there, if they're asking you so what is the truth that you have arrived at, you can say, as per my study, this is the result that I have got. However, this is may not be true reason, future scope is there, and I'm able to proceed further. In that way, we do not consider that yes, there is something called as the absolute truth. The knowledge we know is based on incomplete information. Reason, each one of us has taken up the sample size from our own domain. We do not know whether the same research is going to be good. Let's say if I'm in Delhi, if it works for in Haryana, is it going to work in Punjab, or is it going to work in Jammu or Kashmir or China, Pakistan, Bangladesh? I do not know. Now the things are very different. So we say that it is conjectural. Now yesterday I told you that yes, I most probably today would be sharing this book by Karl Popper. Now even without saying, this is like a Bible, and you are supposed to read this book, Conjectures, Refutations and Theories. It's a marvelous book, and in order to understand what exactly is the role of research, this particular book has been is a like a Bible, and we all should read it, and a soft copy or a hard copy of this book should be present, so that you are aware as to how I'm supposed to conjecture, in the sense that I do not know the truth of it, and how I can go ahead. And let's say Honey has started off with a research, she completed. Now I picked up from her and I completed. Now I have three things in front of me. Let's say this is the example I'm showcasing to you. For example, let's say Honey ma'am has completed with her research work. Okay, now I know research, I'm so sorry, research she has completed. Now I have got her work with me, her scale and her research copy with me. I have three things that I can go ahead and I can do with her research work further. What are those three things? Either I can support her objectives or theory and proceed further with the work that she has done. It can also be possible that I am critical about her research and start criticizing. Criticizing in what way I can do the criticism. This can be done by finding out anomalies, it means that I have identified the mistake in her work, or I can find out the fallacies in her work. I can even find out the paradoxes in her work. Okay, and it can also be possible that I am able to go ahead with what I call it as critical appreciation, in the sense that in some ways I am going to praise her work, or I'm going to give her a negative feedback about her work. So this is another way in which I can go. Third way is that I'm going to refute her theses. Okay, and I would say that she was not right, and here is the review of literature, and I can proceed further with a new theory. And this can again be done in three ways. Let me tell you: existing models. Okay, I add something new to it, number one. Number two, what I can do, I can delete something, and in brackets I'm making it add something else to it, something in the sense a new theory or a new observation supported by the literature which is available. Or I can go ahead and I can say her theory is completely wrong and new theory can be presented. So these are the three things that I can do together. So these three steps has been showcased by Karl Popper, and he says if you are able to go ahead with any of these steps, that means that you are into the research. However, he does not mention in how to do it and how to take care of it, and we will see that why I'm interested and taking up this particular session on philosophical assumption is that logical positivism is not the only assumption you should remember is available to you. Fine, this has been given that yes, I cannot reach to the absolute truth. However, there are other theories also, and those theories is what I'm more interested to share with each one of you, so that you are able to understand and proceed further with your own research work. Or if you are writing publishing your paper, you can enter and you are able to take care of it. Remember this thing. So here they have given to you completely. I'm not going to read out because I'm not going to set your mind with what they are telling us. Under the social constructivism, here meanings and truths are made by humans, because you see it is assumed that the way I look at the world is the better way, and I'm able to communicate whatever I've observed with the medium of language, so everybody is able to understand. Now now the question arises, okay, we have got apes, we have got orangutans, we have got chimpanzees, and a lot of animals like birds, elephants, dogs, whales, dolphins, all animals, plants are there. The question arises, the way I am perceiving the world around me, is it same for a dog? Is it same for a cat? Is it same for a bat? Is it same for a fish? Now, you need to question and proceed further. Now, when we are talking about humans, I have showcased to you on one side birds, animals, and plants. On the other side, you have got what we call it as the cultures. My culture, Chinese, like I belong to India, but before Indian, I have to go ahead and I say that I have this Andhra culture or Kannadiga culture because my father comes from Karnataka, my mother comes from Andhra. So I have both the cultures with me. I have been given that exposure as a single child, and I know what the cultures are and how these two cultures are different. However, if from South India I come to North India, I see the culture is very different. Similarly, if I move to Bihar, the culture is very different. Now, Bihar also, the Patna region is very different, and the moment I enter into Jharkhand areas or deeper into Bihar where those tribes are present, the cultures are very different. Similarly, when I visit to Odisha, I see the way I'm talking. Now, not only in this thing, even me and my cousins, we belong to the same family. The way we look at two things are very, very different. Now, similarly, feminism. Now, you see the total outlook. If you are staying in a village, as a woman, your nature would be very different as compared to an urban person. Like, I'm very comfortable in wearing jeans. However, if I go to a village, my cousin who stays there, she's not comfortable. Now, similarly, if I go to Kashmir, I'm sure the girl will not like it. And there, the girls even cannot open their hair and roam about. However, if they come to Delhi, when they see young girls with the open hair, they are themselves very scared. How can they go about like this? So you will see that culture. Now, I'm talking about the Indian culture itself. Now, you move out of the Indian culture, you go to Pakistan or Nepal or Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, China, Tibet, Japan, you see the cultures, the way they are talking, the way they look at you, the way they move about, the cultural differences. Now, similarly, with the company cultures, the corporate culture, all these things are also coming in. These kind of studies fall under what we call it as the qualitative studies altogether. Now, here itself, I'm going to showcase to you one more paper which is very popular one, and you will see that yes, these things have really brought into things which are necessary. Now, just give me a moment. I'm just just a moment. I'm just taking out one more paper which I'm really interested to showcase to all of you. Yes, here we go. Got it. Now, in this particular paper, which I'm going to share with each one of you again immediately after the session. Now, this is a very popular paper that has been published by a person called Grant Booth, and the paper was published in 2009. Just let it. Yes, this is the one. I'll just increase the size also so that you can read it. Yes, here we go. Now, this is the table that I wanted to show. Can you see, all of you? Now, these are some of the philosophical and the most common ones, I would say, which are used and defined in different schools also. Let me just see if they got these things. Okay, now there is one more paper which I'll have to come just a moment. Can you see this one, perspective, all of you? Can you see it? Perspective, positivist. Then, I have got the other schools also out here. And these things are necessary for us. That is constructivist, realist, critical, and performative. So here, these different schools are really important for us to understand. I'm not giving you away all the schools which are present. However, the most important schools, for example, tomorrow, if you are planning to work on a paper and then you want to use the word positivist, then these are the ones that you need to carry ahead and go further. Similarly, if you are a constructivist, what kind of a thing? So here, when I say positivist, constructivist, realist, critical, and performative, try to remember these are the schools that we have got on one hand. Perspective means, how you would know what exactly is taking place in these things, in these schools. So, for example, if I have to talk about positivism, assumptions about what knowledge is, then under positivist, you are talking about facts, which I said, these are the statements on relationship between the variables. And this is the reason, majority of you who are in the management domain are working on this reason. You are simply focusing and you have been told, just focus on the relationship of the variables that are present in front of you, independent of researchers and transferable to new context. Whether it is going to be there for future or not, we are not bothered. Right now, whatever literature is present, we just have to focus on the relationship between the variables. At that time, the moment you tell me that yes, I am going to do this thing, it immediately hits my mind and I know that you are a positivist. Then comes after that, assumed purpose of the research is what you are predicting and generalizing. You will start off with one thing. When I say one thing, let's say it can be a sample size of 100, it can be sample size of 250, 300, depending upon how you have conducted. And in the end, when you are going to conclude, you will say, see, for 300 people, this particular theory was viable. Therefore, I can generalize it that for the rest of the population also this is taking place. So you are moving from a small set of data to a larger set. So that is what we call it as the generalization, and you make that as a law. Preferred research methods would be what? These are the research methods. What are they? Hypothesis testing, which we have seen right now, experiments, modeling, and measurement. When you have got all these things, I know that yes, you are a positivist. You cannot be anything else, and that's how I come to know. So, when you are writing a thesis and the title is coming in, write it down immediately. Whatever the title is, dash positivist approach. So we come to know that yes, you have already started off with these kind of a stuff. Assumed way to achieve quality in research, hierarchy of preferred study design, standardized instruments. What are the standardized instruments? Surveys, questionnaires. These are the ones that you pick it up and then you are following up. Assumed relationship between science and values. Science, why science? Because you are following a particular process which is scientific in nature, and then you are proceeding further towards the conclusion. Assumed mechanism through which impact is achieved. That is direct. New knowledge will influence practice. Policies are made. Some changes you are able to bring about because of your research into the community. It can be in the form of a theory. It can be in the form of a simple principle. It can be in the form of the approach that you have taken care. It can be any small. However, you have introduced that kind of a change. So that is the reason why positivist school becomes very important. Implications, if you remember that if you are writing an article or a paper or a thesis or a dissertation, you are supposed to give me the implications, because that is mandatory as a positivist and through the positivist perspective. So here, if you are under this perspective, then you can see the logic models are the one. That's why you see modeling, theoretical framework, conceptual frameworks are really helpful for us, so that we can understand and we are able to move in a logical way. So this has been given to us, and see, the last step is they're writing it very clearly: taken up and used for societal benefit. If you are doing, you're a positivist. Now coming to constructivist, you will see, I'm just going towards the end of it. What is the implication of a constructivist? They are building up the activities and interactions to build relationship with policy makers. So if you are bringing in some changes in a policy, then you are what we call it as constructivist. And here are the steps that they have given to you as to how to move from one direction and come over to a launch or to introduce a new policy or to revise a policy. Like for example, the educational policies that we had. If I have to prepare, let's say, a nice report, it would be based on the constructivist approach. So these are the words that you're supposed to know. If you are a realist, now what do they do? Studies of how people interpret external reality. That means the object which is present in the world, how you are going to take care of it. Producing statements on what works for whom in these circumstances. So, you know, you are trying to understand the reality. For example, if you go to Jharkhand and if you are focusing, or if I go to Odisha and I'm focusing on, let's say, the Sambalpuri saris, and if I have to understand how they weave and how they are different from Kanchivaram or the other saris varieties that we have got, the Bhagalpuri and all those ones, I have to literally sit with them and try to understand and see. So that would be the realist approach for me. And here the last implication which you can see is that impact studies should address variability. That's why I said how Kanchipuram saris are different from Bhagalpuri or Sambalpuri. So the moment I go there, I see the reality, I talk to them, and either I'm doing the quantitative or qualitative, I need to bring in and showcase the variances present in all the three sari makers. So those are something, and if I'm taking up that kind of an approach, I would be calling it as the realist approach. Now, realism also has different schools. However, try to understand in broad terms that yes, these are some of the schools. However, if I'm going ahead with the critical schools, you know, then at that time, what am I going to do? Students that reveal society's inherent conflicts and injustices and give people the tools to challenge their oppression. If I'm trying to develop those kind of things, I would be into the critical domain. Now, for example, the journalist, especially the Arnab Goswami, now him I would be calling as, if I do a proper study, I would be calling it as critical investigative journalist report. So let's say if I'm making a report, if it is not a report, I have done a research study, I'll be writing a study over there. And here it is basically participatory, and here it is hypothesis testing. Under positivist, if you are a constructivist, it's a naturalistic inquiry. What that means that you are so enthusiastic that you have series of collection of questions, and the answers that you're going to get would be for the constructivist. For realist, it's actually a combination of both naturalism and quantity, as well as the qualitative studies. When they combine these three together, you can go ahead and you can call or label your research as the realistic kind of a thing. Critical people, they go ahead with the participate. Like I sit with the viewer and try to identify, or if I really, let's say I learned Kuchipudi dance, now I want to know and write a thesis, or let's say a report on Kuchipudi and from Kathak. So unless and until I don't go to a Kathak guru, I don't learn them, I will not be able to do. So what I have to take care of it here, it would be the participatory one. I need to participate. If I have to know the corporate culture, for example, I want to test the bad leadership and the employee, then unless and until I don't participate in that corporate culture, how would I know that yes, the person is like this? Then I participate into it, a different study takes place altogether, and then they go. So here, if you look at the implications, it is what? Impact has a political dimension. Number one, political dimension in the sense you go ahead and you are observing a particular school over there. Like for example, I have just taken up the Kanchipuram weavers, or the Bhagalpuri or the Sambalpuri region, and then I'll have to understand. So that dimension is always defined, and then I proceed further. Similarly, research may challenge the status quo, in the sense I'm comparing, so I can say that yes, this is a better, or this is better, or I might criticize also while I'm criticizing. And this is the approach, if you will see in kitchens, when your mother is there with you, she will say you're not supposed to cut the vegetables in this manner. So you will see the criticisms are coming in one after the other, and then you go ahead and proceed further. So there would be difference of opinions, a lot of differences are there. However, it's up to you how nicely you take it up and then proceed further also. Now similarly, performative knowledge is brought into being and enacted in practice by actor networks of people and technologies. So most of the papers or most of the studies in the field of education, in the field of I should say technologies, they go about with the performative one. Even what is that, aviation industry, if you are into let's say fashion and designing, there a majority of them are going to focus on what we call it as the performative studies basically. And the impact would be the realignment, film studies, theater studies, visual studies, all those things I'm talking about. There is a lot of interaction between human and the technologies and the immediate surrounding, and then they are trying to find out as to whether this is well established or not. So these are some of the common, I would say, philosophical assumptions, and the way you are going to raise the questions would be understood the way you are taking care of it. So if I come and see your proposal now, for example, very soon next week we are starting off with another weekend research series through Kurukshetra University, and wherein every Sunday I would be taking a workshop for the student. Now, when I go ahead and they have made it mandatory that yes, every person who is going to join up for that particular series of the workshop, they have to first of all give a proposal. Now, why the proposal we have taken? Reason, I'll come to know immediately whether you are a positivist or a constructivist, realist, critical or performative. And depending upon those things, we are going to help you out either to complete with your thesis or with your dissertation, or we might go ahead and help you in publishing your paper. Now, because I am into publishing area also side by side, and we are collaborating with some international journals. As a reviewer myself, I have joined, and now you will see that when I am giving the training and I'm giving an opportunity to each one of you to come up and learn whatever I have taught you, or trained you in these webinars or the training sessions that you're attending. By spending the money, make it fruitful for yourself, come up with small papers and get them published and get recognized at the global level. So that is why I have redesigned my entire workshop, and I said I will not do the way the others are doing. I need to make a difference of it altogether, so that you are learning these things and you are proceeding further also. So you will be able to. So there we have taken care, and I'm going to proceed further in that manner also. So this is the section that I really wanted to share and make you understand what variables are. Then we have seen critical frameworks, how conceptual frameworks are introduced. Variables, we have seen hypotheses. Yes, due to the time limitation, I have not focused much upon it. However, yes, I have introduced, and now with the philosophical assumption. Now, if these are completed, I now would like to go ahead and discuss with you what we would be calling it as the introduction to different kinds of reviews. Now that is something, again, a new thing that I'm sharing it with each one of you, and I want you to learn from here also side by side. And now Anubha ma'am is asking me, will we be allowed to attend the KUK workshop? Ma'am, they are going to rotate, and I have already told them that yes, some of you might join up. If you are interested, you are most welcome. I will share the brochure in the group, and I don't know the further part of it, whether it is for free or they charging. I don't think so they are charging anything, and that's what they told me. Let me see, I haven't yet checked out. In the evening today, they are planning to share the brochure, and when it is there, you should I can go ahead and I can showcase to you right away what all things I am going to take care. Maybe in 5 minutes, very quickly, I would be showcasing to you, and all of you, I mean, some of you who are keen, you can join me up over there also, because that's a wonderful platform wherein I am discussing and introducing quite a lot of things. Let me just showcase to you. It's a 7 days, so rather than taking it continuously in a week, we have decided to do it on a weekly basis, that is every Sunday from 10 to 2 o'clock. So 4 hours I would be present rather than just for 2 hours daily. And let me just share the details with you also, so that if some of you are keen, you can see on day 1, I'm introducing research. Introduction to research. What is research? Why research? Role of observation and their forms, which I have done. Then similarly, differences between research queries, research questions, and research problems. Introduction to observations, theory building, theory development, theory testing, concept building, concept development. However, since it's a longer duration, so my contribution will be more. Different kinds of variables and their identification, introduction to research softwares, and why I'm going to focus more on R. Day 2, I would be introducing reviews. What reviews are, what are the different kinds of reviews, introduction to reviews, which I'm going to do it, but I will not be able to do it in depth today and tomorrow. Traditional review, systematic, literature, scopic, narrative, interrogative, then umbrella, rapid, qualitative, and these things is what I'm going to do on day 2. Day 3, I'm going to focus on systematic reviews, meta-analysis, then give you hands-on experience for meta-analysis using R, then systematic reviews, and what we I call it as the meta-synthesis, and how to go about with meta-synthesis. Day 4, I'm again focusing on meta-analysis and meta-synthesis, entering into it. Now, after completion of it, review of literature objectives. Now, from the objectives, immediately I'll have to move to the software, and here I'll be jumping into the quantitative part of it, starting off with the univariate, then bivariate, and then ending up into the what I call it as the multivariate analysis. So these ones would be the topics which I'll start off from next week, which is from August 23rd. So obviously they will be sharing the brochure tonight, and they have to roll out from tomorrow. So once they give me, I will share it here also. So some of you who are interested, you can join me up. There's no problem. So without wasting any more time, let me go ahead with another topic, which I call it as the reviews. And here I would like to go ahead and showcase to you the paper that has been written by Grant Booth. And we will first of all have to understand as to what exactly do I mean by review, number one. Number two, why reviews have to be taken care of. This paper, I'm going to share it. So please go ahead and read them properly, so that you are able to understand and go ahead with it. Now, you see, usually what happens is that we are going ahead and we simply write down what I call it as a research article. However, a research paper or research article is not going to be very useful for me, especially I'm talking not from the publication purpose. However, when I am doing my research. Now, you see, usually what do students do? Or the scholar does, or let's say a faculty is doing, they pick up the papers which are published or the books which are published, and they start reading, and they go directly to the objectives. Now, from objectives, they prepare their hypotheses, then testing them, then go ahead, give the analysis, the conclusion, and that's the end of it. Okay. Now, there was a time when they realized it, that given so much of the journals, so many journals are present. Now, how should I know which journal is good for me, which article is good for me, and which one should I go ahead and take care of it, so that I can really proceed further with my what I call it as the research. At that time, there were two people who came up, and this is again a contribution from the side of the health sector only, and they realized it that no, we are supposed to do something else, so that focusing on the publications. I'm talking about the publication, not my publication at the moment. I'm a researcher. I have to understand, given so many journals, which journal am I supposed to go. Like, for example, here they have given you the definition of it. And what is the definition of the review? It is to view, to inspect, or examine a second time or again. This is how they are defining what a review is altogether. So here you will see that why I have taken care, and I thought I should define, not just define, however introduce it in this workshop also. Reason you will be able to understand the importance of the reading that you are going to pick up for your own research. However, remember that reviews come in before the review of literature. Always remember that this is not at, you have that set of questions with you, which I called it as the research question. With the help of the research question, you are entering into the level of reviews. Okay, you are not entering into review of literature. Remember that review of literature gives importance to the objectives. However, only reviews gives importance to the research questions. So with this kind of a thing, they have published, this particular paper, which I'm going to discuss with you, have published around 14 reviews and their methodologies, so that you can go ahead, you can know what are the various ways in which you can go ahead and publish a paper. Because you see, you are doing so many things. So, there are certain things that, I would really appreciate, and I'm one of them who gives a lot of importance to reviews and help you, if you are serious enough, to get trained on these reviews and then proceed further with the publication. And definitely, and that is the motive why I'm conducting these kind of research works and believe in multidisciplinary approach, and inviting scholars as well as the faculty members to form small groups, and they can work out on different titles on these reviews also, to proceed further with what I call it as the publication. Now, in this one, I'm not going to read line by line. This you can read it. I'm just going to introduce you what are the different reviews that we have got and how to understand them. Now here you will see that the first kind of a review that they talk about is what we call it as critical review. Now what do you do out here? Now aims to demonstrate. Now I have to read this line by line so that you are able to understand them and go ahead with certain things. Now aims to demonstrate writer has extensively researched literature. Number one, you are, we appreciate that yes, the scholar or the faculty is involved into lot of patience is required, number one. Number two, you are literally reading certain thing and jotting down the main points over there and proceeding further into further things, and critically evaluated its quality. Now I don't have the time in this particular workshop in order to basically showcase to you as to what are I should say various ways in which you can literally criticize something. There are certain tools which are available. In fact, there are 3 in number. Most probably, let's see in my next workshop with the same group, maybe if some of you are again there, you can learn these techniques from me and really understand as to how to criticize or go ahead and present a critical summary or a critical review in the publication itself. Now it's a technique that is involved, and trust me, nobody knows. Even on NVivo, if a person is teaching you, a simple question you can ask them is, do you know how to deal with logical questions? Now if a person says yes, definitely learn. However, I'm telling you, even the faculties or in various workshops, when I see people giving the or taking the sessions on NVivo, they do not know about these logical things at all. So you have to be very careful when you are learning certain things and picking up, rather than just for the heck of it, because you are spending the money. Now, I'm sure that each one of you through this workshop must have learned something new, which is not available in other workshops. Now, these are the things. Definitely, yes, like one of the person asked me via mail, ma'am, you have shared so much of material. Reason, this is not the end of it for your journey in the domain of knowledge. I've shared those things so that even after this workshop, if you are not able to attend my other workshops, you are at least got the material so that you can read it further and improve your own knowledge also side by side. So critical review is one of them, wherein you are able to proceed further and present a critical. And then what happens? Goes beyond mere description to include degree of analysis. You have done the analysis, definitely yes. However, just writing down the conclusion saying that, see, this, p-value is this is happening, correlation is there, r is there, r square is there. That is not just the part of the, I should say, analysis. You need to showcase something else. That see, in this particular paper, wherein the same study had been there, their results were also similar. However, in my this thing, you know, I'm proceeding further and this has given the strength of it. Now, if you are able to do that, there's nothing like it. Now, similarly, after that, what is happening? This is okay, typically results in hypotheses or models. The majority of you, I know Anubha is working on model. I'm sure marketing, sensory marketing, also Honey ma'am, you must be working on a model. Then definitely Favidi is also working on a model. I'm sure at least 3 of you are working. So that means that you can definitely go ahead and write what I call it as a critical review paper. And there's a technique in which it is involved and you're supposed to know about it so that we can carry off. In fact, I was requesting Ayush for the next workshop for the same thing. We should just focus only on different kinds of reviews, how to write them, how to proceed further with the publication. Only 3 agenda, nothing else for this particular group, and then he can decide. I don't know what he is deciding right now. I have to discuss with him for the next workshop with the same group, and then we can proceed further also side by side. Now search is basically, now here you see, when we are adopting reviews, there are different frameworks, there are different styles in which we work. One of them is salsa, just like the ketchup. I hope all of you know that salsa is not just the dancing. However, even it's a food item wherein you know, if you understood what I mean to say, you will understand this also side by side. It is on the same plane itself. Now here the first one is search. So seeks to identify most significant terms in the items in the field. Appraisal, no formal quality assessment, attempts to evaluate according to the contribution. Whatever the author has written, that's the contribution you're taking care of it. What is the synthesis out here? It is typically narrative. Now, what do we mean by narrative? I'll be showcasing to you afterwards the differences. Narrative is, example, I can give it to you. Like for example, I was traveling to from Delhi to Amritsar for a workshop that I had to attend, and unfortunately I could not get the train ticket, so I did not have any other option other than traveling in a AC coach. AC coach means the bus I'm talking about. So you know, it was in the night, I had to travel, and they told me early morning around 7:30, 8 o'clock I'll be reaching Amritsar. That was fine. 10 o'clock I can get ready and I can start attending the workshop. Now the moment I boarded, there was this young couple who stood next to me, and they said that our grandmother is residing in Amritsar and she is going to travel in the same bus, and she is sitting next to you. If you don't mind, can you please take care of her while she's traveling, because she is a bit aged and we want somebody to take care. I said no worries about it, I would be taking care of it. Now while the bus started off, I think 2 hours late or 2.5 hours late, I don't remember, this lady, because I was a female myself, she started talking to me all by herself. And while our journey to Amritsar, she was sharing quite a lot of things, and slowly the rapport building was there, and I'm one of the person, you know, people centric person. So it was very easy for me to get connected to her, and I was staying in Amritsar for nearly 8 days I was there. So she invited me and she said that you're just like my daughter, why don't you come over to my house during your stay in Amritsar. So, you know, one fine evening she sent her driver along with her another son of her, and I was at our home, and you know, while I was talking to her, suddenly she started crying loudly. Now, I could not understand as to I must have shared this story, and she started crying, and I asked her, I apologized immediately. I said, did I hurt your feelings? Then she said, no, it was not you who had hurt my feelings. However, seeing you, I remembered something. So you will see that in my interaction with her. Okay, now see what is happening. Now I'm talking to her. She went back to her past. Okay, and in the past she did something wrong, and that made her guilty, and she's trying to communicate her guiltiness to me. Now what is happening, you can see it's this entire scenario that is taking place. We call it as a narrative. We have started talking, and once I'm back, whatever like I'm sharing right now in the verbal form, so it's a verbal narrative. However, if I start writing down the entire thing, it is called as the written narrative, and then I give it a format to it. It turns out to be a review. And trust me, if you learn this method of writing a narrative review, which is the most easiest one, in America, there is this university wherein one of my friend, she has come up with the journal wherein she publishes only narrative. She does not do anything else. She just publishes the narrative reviews only. So we come from different directions, and there are so many experiences, observations which are quite good. And if you are good at writing, and if you are able to learn that format, you can really publish your this thing. So that's the critical review or the narrative that I'm talking about. It can be a conceptual paper, or it can be a chronological. The one that I was right now narrating to you, it's a chronological narrative review. And the way a person narrates the entire story or the experience or the observation, it can be either written in the conceptual format or in the chronological thing. Then we can go ahead and we are able to analyze the entire thing, understand certain things. We can come up with a model, we can publish it. Now there are various directions again for the narrative and the analysis, and what conclusions can be given will be very different. It can give you a new theory, new exposure, or something new can be added out. So that's where we can go ahead with the critical review. So under critical review, one of the process is narrative. There are other things also which are available. Now similarly, literature review. Now remember that review of literature is different and literature review is different. Now majority of the time, if you go outside this particular workshop and ask somebody, do you think there is a difference between review of literature and literature review? If a person tells you, no, there is no difference, they are the same thing, trust me, the person is not correct, because there is a lot of difference between literature review and review of literature also. Okay, remember these points. Now, what is literature review? It's a published materials that provide examination of recent or current literature. Number one, can cover wide range of subjects at various levels of completeness, comprehensiveness, and may include even the research. Now, this is what is the description for the literature review. However, I'll be showing you the depth and how to understand it further also. Now here, try to see the intricacies of literature review. May not include comprehensive searching. You do comprehensive searching in review of literature, whereas in literature review, it is not. So that is first difference. Appraisal is may or may not include quality assessment. What does this mean? Nobody can pinpoint and say, okay, you have not done this, you have not done this, you have not done this. As your mentors or your PhD guides or your peers tell you that yes, you haven't completed this thing, so we are rejecting your paper. There are a lot of grammatical mistakes, so we are rejecting your paper. This is not there, we are rejecting your paper. Nothing of that thing takes place in literature review. Remember this. Synthesis, again, it is basically narrative, and I told you narratives come in different forms, and maybe in future or later on I'll tell you What are those different kinds of narratives that I'm talking about? Analysis, again, it is chronological, conceptual, theoretical, thematic, content. There are lots of analytical techniques that we have got, and you can go ahead, you can pick up, adopt any one of them, and you can write a beautiful literature review. So that is one more thing that you have to remember. Mapping is different, systematic map is different altogether. However, I'm assuming that yes, let it be right now in one fold only. Map out and categorize. Nowadays, a lot of workshops are taking up on web based what do you call, web based analysis or bibliometric analysis. They are doing it, network analysis. If some of you have attended those things, you will see that mapping reviews, heat maps, these are also new varieties that we have got, wherein we use majority of the time visualizations and graphical representations, and we are really analyzing and we write it down. Those things are called as mapping reviews or systematic maps. So this one, literature from the commission further reviews of the primary research by identifying gaps in the research. Now remember, he has introduced, the person has introduced gaps. However, when I come to the search, try to see what other things they are telling you. Completeness of searching determined by time and scope constraints, number one. No formal quality assessment. So here again, there is no formal assessment of the paper writing or reviewing. Maybe graphical or tabular. Now, you see, if you are very good in drawing, you know, for example, for me, unless and until I do not have a diagram for my explanation, I cannot proceed further. I love drawing. I need those diagrams. And some of you who had been interacting, the first thing I ask you is, do I have a diagram in front of you? Because that gives a lot of picture into it, and it clarifies a lot of things to us basically. So, you know, you are able to go ahead with this kind of a stuff also. So characterizes quantity and quality literature, and they have given you further. Meta-analysis is a technique, is a quantitative technique, again, wherein a lot of like articles or research papers which you are reading, it really helps you out in you know, funneling which is the one that you should take up for your study, to understand the relationship between the variables of your own study and which study should be excluded, so that you know that yes, it's not just the relationship of the I should say the variables. However, you're seeing what is the effect size. Effect size means with the way in which you have taken up independent and dependent variables, or the antecedent and consequent variables, especially in the entire conceptual model. What is the effect size in it? Are they really strong, or is it a very weak one? Now, you see, when you do meta-analysis, it really showcases to you some kind of things through effect size, power size. You can understand that yes, whether there was a biasness in your studies itself, so that in future, like for example, one of you, when you are discussing with me with respect to your own model, you tell me that you see, I'm trying to do, however, I'm not getting the results. However, if you have completed the meta-analysis and the systematic analysis in a proper manner, you could have understood and you know, avoided this kind of discrepancies in your SEM models or the final model of your own research. So meta-analysis in that manner is really good, and it takes away biasness. It takes away all kind of heterogeneity, in the sense the differences which are there. Then a team is involved, which helps you to understand, recognize the importance of the variables that you're taking up in your own study. So, you know, before I always recommend that even before you start off with your review of literature, you should do the review work. It can be critical review. Go step by step, you know, and when you are doing, you come out with such a powerful model in front of you that the final analysis becomes much more easier, and you are able to proceed further with the conclusion and a good research for yourself. Next is the mixed studies review, wherein you can pick up one of the reviews out of 48 of them, though I'm going to showcase only 14 of them or maybe 12 of them right now, so that you are able to know at least what these are and how to carry forward. The next one is the overview. Now this is because the person belongs to the healthcare center, so they have taken up from the medical. However, I would say, even if you are coming from different departments, let it be HR, let it be logistics, supply chain, finance, commerce, economics, no matter which department you belong to, you can definitely go ahead and you can use these overviews and the other kind of reviews that you have got, and you can publish them as a paper for yourself. May or may not include comprehensive search. The choice is yours. However, there is a technique again in which we can go ahead and we are able to do it. Now synthesis depends on whether systematic or not. Then analysis again is chronological, conceptual, or thematic. Now again, you will see that yes, when you are doing overview of your own with the help of the software or manually, there are certain things or a process in which it is taking place. The next one is the qualitative systematic review. This is exclusively for the I should say the qualitative domain, wherein they are talking about thematic analysis, constructive analysis, and then they proceed further with the qualitative part of it. So here it is the qualitative and narrative synthesis. It's like a storytelling for you, and you involve it. It's basically thematic analysis, which includes the conceptual models. So that is the reason, nobody tells you that yes, theoretical models and conceptual models are really important in the research because of these things. Now you see, when I'm telling you all these things and you have done, trust me, you can write a awesome paper and it can be published in the good journal, wherein the publisher cannot say that yes, you have not done the work properly. And by the time you complete your PhDs, some of the scholars I'm talking about, you get that boost that yes, see, I have written a good number of papers. It's not just two, because you are going to be in the academics slowly. So these kind of contributions really make it a good thing. Now similarly, we have got rapid reviews also again. Now here you will see that assessment of what is already known about a policy or a practice issue by using a systematic. So that's why we say reviews are really important, and we really go ahead and we really work hard with the scholars so that they are about to know what these are, and step by step they are. Now recently, when I completed a workshop with Pakistan University, one of the Pakistani university, the vice chancellor was sitting in the group of around 450 people, and he immediately said, in the month of September, Ramni ma'am, I want 2 weeks workshop exclusively only on the reviews, nothing else. And I want each one of my faculties and each one of the PhD scholars to know what reviews are, how to write the reviews, what kind of softwares are available, and how to get it published. And now, I have collaborated with that university, and the scholars are joining up with the faculty, and we are all as a team coming up with different papers. So these gives you the collaborative opportunities to networking and to present the papers and get them published, recognize it in the market also. So completeness of searching is determined by time constraints. There are rapidness of I'm not entering again into the details. However, there is a time limit that yes, from here to here only I'm going to focus and see how exactly or what exactly is happening over there. So again, it is going ahead with narrative. So you see, if it is narrative, it makes it much more easier. And in the entire synthesis column, if I just show it to you right now, you will see that under synthesis, majority of them have got the narrative. Now you tell me all by yourself, it is not difficult to get this kind of papers to be published in a good journal also side by side. Similarly, we have got the scoping reviews also. I'm sharing this particular paper, I'll be giving it away so all of you can take up. Now state of art of review, so this is, so whatever your title is, keep a dash and simply you will write state of art review. Similarly, systematic review, if you have written the title dash systematic review, so you know this makes your work much more comfortable and you have done very good research, and you know it will be the credentials are also there. Number 3, number 4, you get recognized for your own work. This does not go waste at all. Similarly, you have got the umbrella reviews also in the end, and you can see what kind of things are there for us. So you know this is what it is, and you can see the way you can create your own database and you can learn a lot of things from the reviews. So you know reviews is not just the for the purposes of writing. However, the technique, the way you are going to if you are good at vocabulary or in your communication skills, trust me, writing the reviews are the best part of it. So this is something that I wanted to share, number 1. Number 2, I have got one more thing that I wanted to showcase. Just give me a moment. I'll just take another 10 minutes more, and I hope nobody has a problem with that. Now, this is one more thing that I need to, just give me a moment. Okay, here we go. And I'm taking care of a new share, and see it very carefully. This is the difference between scoping reviews and systematic reviews. These are all I have collected, and I have a very good collection which I'm showcasing it. However, you know, I'm sharing it also side by side so that you know how to what these terminologies mean, how to use them in your own research work, and how to even write it. So this is one more, and I have one more table which I can show. So for next few minutes, I'm just showcasing to you new tables and new things which are there. So this is another one, literature review. I'm not talking about review of literature. I'm talking about literature review and systematic review. So you can see the methodological stages out here, like focus of review introduces context and current thinking, often without a specific question, is general and covers several aspects of a topic. Systematic review is just one question, precise question, and then you, now why I'm sharing these things is that you will learn you know how to raise a proper research question, you know, and how to go about it. Majority of the times, you know, usually what happens, okay, I have completed with my MA, next step is my PhD. You give the entrance examination, you pass the entrance examination, give the interview, you're selected, pay the fees, you are entered into it. And after that, you go ahead and you are trying to just proceed further with the review of literature. However, I would say, here comes the picture. There is more. Go ahead. What research question is? Do you really know? Now you are able to understand. Now, with the help of the research question, how to go about with different reviews and how to carry forward with these kind of a stuff. Number 1, how many papers you can include, you know, in a systematic review, and what you can deduce from there and how to produce further. Similarly, literature review, if it is 150 or 200 papers, what do you gather from there and what you are able. Now these are, you know, so there is a lot of things which are available for us in the research, and we are not able to understand them and carry forward for our own guidance or even know them. So this is my contribution which I have started off with this journey, so that some of my scholars, along with them, some of you are also with me, and I hope tomorrow when I'm going to complete with this particular workshop, you're not saying bye bye to me. All of you are with me again, and whatever concerns, and in future you are incorporating these things also in your writings or in your work and getting recognition in the academic field. So this is one more thing that I wanted to showcase it to you. Again, just see, if you are doing a systematic review, how many authors are there? 3 or more. So don't you think when 3 people are together and you are able to delegate the work, divide the work among yourself, learn from each other, see how good the things are. So again, these are the ones that I really enjoy working along with my scholars, as well as myself and the other people, individuals with whom I am collaborating and moving slowly from step by step. So these are something, and there is let me see if I have to showcase to you something else. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so this is another photo which is there. Traditional literature review and systematic reviews. Now, like this, I have made a table, not just table, however, collected the articles and a lot of stuff for each one of you, so that you are able to understand, make it a habit that yes, we are going to read them and proceed further. For your own benefit for future. So this is one more example. Let me just get it. Okay, here we go. This is between what I call it as the scoping and systematic reviews. So here, this is another one that we have got. So you can really understand them, though in just half an hour I cannot complete the entire thing, and therefore I'm just introducing and sharing the material with you, so that tomorrow whenever all of you are free, you can go ahead and you can really learn about these reviews also side by side, and understand its importance in research and how to incorporate even in your theses and dissertations also. In fact, I would always suggest that yes, please, whatever you're learning, just don't keep it to yourself. You should go ahead and talk to your mentors or the guides who are there and tell them, sir, this is what I have learned, and I'm going ahead and introducing it. Now that's how you will go ahead and learn, bring in the changes in the academic field itself, and definitely yes, some of you who are keen, you can be in contact with me continuously, and whatever you are doing, small thing, you can collaborate with us also and proceed further into the research area all the time. So this was the agenda that I said that I would be taking care of it today. And I think I have said that I would be completing variables. I have done, I have introduced to you the main variables, what are the different kinds of variables we have got, and both the common and uncommon one. Then I introduced to you what reviews are, and I have showcased this particular paper. I'm going to share it also right away. And I would prefer that yes, please read the entire thing and try to understand and incorporate. Tomorrow when you are also writing, you can use one of these reviews. Now similarly, I took some time extra and made you understand what philosophical assumptions are. And now, some of you have understood what exactly is logical positivist view, whether you are entering into it. So start using these terminologies and look whether you are a realist or you are a constructivist or you are a practical part of it, and then go ahead and take care of it. So I think with this, I'm just going to keep quiet right now. And one more thing that I said, that I would be giving to you introduction to reviews I have given to you, and more will be given, yes, in future also. When I say papers, I was talking about the research papers. Reviews, just now you have seen, are very different. Research papers are very different kind of a stuff, and you have understood now. Once you step outside into the society, and now you are aware that yes, in fact, I would even add one more thing out here which you are supposed to remember, that there are what we call it as summaries. So you can publish a summary, and then we have got annotations. You can even publish annotations and write it down. Then critical reviews, anyway, I have taken care of it. And then articles, definitely yes. None of us we think about it. If you are keen of publishing an article also, you can proceed further and you can take care. So these are again some more things which you should know, and proceed further into your own daily life, and see to it. Like I have my own agenda that yes, on a daily basis I should write one review, and I should write one critical appraisal, I should say, and one summary or one annotation. This is my daily activity, and I have seen how to go further into it slowly, and then I proceed further also side by side. Now with this, I'm going to end today. Tomorrow, when we are coming, I would be starting off with qualitative research. In the first 1 hour, I would be speaking a lot, because this is something which I love, and nobody, trust me when I say nobody does it in a very neat and very nice manner. So I would be giving you entirely 1 hour exposure about the qualitative research with the approach that we take. Number one, I'm giving to you all these things. That means I would be taking care of it. Then the methodologies that we have got in under qualitative research. Then how to understand about the sample size in this. Then the research designs that we talk about in qualitative research. Also we have got sample size, and then what was the other one that I want to talk about is the techniques that you have got. And here I will not just be speaking about the common one, the overview that majority of them keep giving it, that is phenomenology. I'm not just going to give you an overview. I would be entering into depth and showcasing to you what are the different schools that you have got. Similarly, another school that we have got is structuralism. Nobody talks about them. Modernism, nobody talks about it. Then we have got postmodernism. Nobody talks about it. We will be discussing about it. Then post-structuralism is also something that I'll be talking about. Then descriptivism, I'll be giving you the way it is being taken care of. Interpretivism, this is another school that all of you should know and proceed further as to how to go about and how to take care of it. Now, apart from that, I'll be introducing to you some Indian schools of both Indian, okay, let me make it up like this, Indian and Western schools, when they are trying to capture the qualitative analysis, how they do it and in what manner they are taking care of it, and how this school is different from, let's say, quantitative schools. Now, that also should be known. And when I say differences, I'm not talking about the general ones, which you can find out in any of the books. I'm talking in reality. How do you differentiate it? In what manner we can talk about and how to carry forward about them. Then apart from these things, I would be introducing to you the softwares which are used for the qualitative analysis. However, trust me, do not blindly learn away in a very wrong method. It's a request. There is a proper manner in which, so I would be introducing to you what I call it as a logical, okay, I've just written part of it, what I call it as the logical studies. Very quickly, I will be explaining to you what propositions are, which I thought I'll be able to complete. However, I will not be able to complete propositions, how to find out the fallacies. Then I'll be giving you the important fallacies also, number 2. Then we have got what we call it as the arguments. If you have identified the argument, what are true and falsehood, this is something that you should know, and validity and invalidity also. Okay, how these things have come into the picture of the research. Validity, I'm sorry, and validity and invalidity. Now, a majority of us, we do not know about them, what arguments are, and now how to form an argument. Now, that is also necessary, which majority of us do not know how to form an argument. Now, apart from argument, how to go ahead and, make a criticism for something. That is an art, and I'll be sharing it. So this would be my agenda for the qualitative. Once I have completed with this, I would be moving ahead with, which all of you are, majority of you are aware of it, and that is quantitative research. I will focus little bit on ROL, then on objectives I'll be focusing. Now, once we have done ROL and objectives, then I would be giving you introduction to techniques, tests, and softwares which are available for our quantitative research also. And towards the end, some tables which I have learned and which I really find it very useful for me, and that is univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis. Now, how to understand them and how to take care of it. So I think with this, I would be able to complete the workshop tomorrow. And I think I have given you nicely the topics that I really wanted to learn, and for each one of you, so that you are also taking something good, and you have learned from me whatever I have to teach. So if you have any questions, very quickly you can ask me. Otherwise, we will wind up for today, and again tomorrow we can log in. That's okay, honey. I'll be sharing, of course, yes, you must have seen they have already started sharing the links for the, I should say, the video, the entire session being recorded. So I have taken it and I have recorded it. So till now it is getting recorded. So obviously we will be sharing it. Any other thing apart from this that if somebody would like to question or ask me, you can. Nothing? So should we call for a day then? It was a heavy dosage with so many things. I can't help it. This was necessary, and something new that each one of you are going to learn is compulsory. I'm so sorry, the line got disconnected surprisingly. And so here we go. And so none of you have got any question? Okay, in that case, then Gokul, are you there? Hello? Gokul is also not there. Okay, then let's wind up for today. Then tomorrow at sharp 4 o'clock, again, we will be meeting each other. All right, thanks and take care. all of you. Yeah. Thank you, Roshan. Take care. Bye.